Good morning. Today we go back to our chapter Semiconductor, and the topic that we will be discussing today is the rectifier, both half-wave rectifier and full-wave rectifier. Before we go into the working of the rectifier, let us look at its applications or what a rectifier does. A rectifier basically converts AC voltages to DC voltages. As you know, we've discussed in current electricity and alternating current, both those chapters, we discussed the need for transmitting power at very high voltages. You know, at the power station, we have a step up transformer which steps up the voltage and then transmits it at high voltages. And at the substation, we step it down and supply it to our homes at 220 volt AC. The reason being that during transmission, the power lost in the form of heat in the cable is much lower if you transmit it at very high voltages. So the power supply that we have at our homes are 220 AC supplies. AC supply. Now, some of our home appliances like your LED TV, your laptops, the mobile phones all need a supply of DC supply. Mobile phones need a DC supply of 5 volt. LED TVs, I think around 12 volt DC. So which means when we plug on, let's say we are plugging in our mobile phones to charge it, we are giving it the charger is actually plugged on to the AC supply, right? So it's being supplied a 220 volt AC supply, but what it needs is to charge is 5 volt DC supply. So we need a rectifier circuit which will convert the AC to DC. I have here removed one of my chargers, and you will see that this charger, inside the charger we have this rectifier circuit with a transformer, 2 diodes and capacitor and so on. So we have a rectifier circuits in our charger which will convert the AC, and it is also printed there on the charger. It's been printed there. Input to the charger is 240 volt and the output, that is AC, and the output will be a 4.8 volt DC supply, around 5 volt DC supply. Same thing for TV, LED TVs, 12 volt DC supply. So we need conversion from AC to DC in many of our home appliances, and that is what we are going to look at now, the rectifier circuit, both half wave and full wave rectifier circuit. Now here the half wave rectifier, we first discuss the half wave rectifier. In a half wave rectifier circuit, what we have is, we first obviously has a transformer, like I showed you just now. We have a transformer. Transformer we have already done in our chapter on AC. It has a primary coil and a secondary coil. This is a step down transformer because I told you our supply is 220 volt. What we need is something much lower than that. If it's a mobile phone, we just need a 5 volt DC supply. So we have a step down transformer. The two lines here representing the symbol for a transformer, mutual induction between the primary and the secondary. So we have a step down transformer. This is the secondary coil and this is the primary coil. To the primary coil, we supply the AC voltage that we need to rectify, that we need to convert to DC. So the supply voltage is an AC voltage, alternating voltage, a positive half cycle and a negative half cycle. This secondary terminal is connected to a diode, the symbol of a diode, and then to a load resistor like this, load resistor RL. Now I'll call this point as A and this point as B. Now, in order to understand the working of this rectifier circuit, you need to go back to a previous video on forward biasing and reverse biasing of a semiconductor diode, because this rectifier works on biasing, meaning if your semiconductor diode, I hope you remember that this is the N type and this is the P type. If it is connected, the P to the positive terminal of the supply voltage and the negative terminal is connected to the N type, then such a connection is what we call as, such a biasing is what you call as forward biasing. So in forward biasing, what happens is, you know that the potential barrier in a PN junction is always directed from the N type to the P type in this direction. And the supply voltage, this is the positive and this is the negative. So the supply voltage is now opposing the potential barrier, which means the depletion region becomes thinner, and what we have will be a large diffusion current, and where this diffusion current, this is the threshold voltage or the knee voltage, which is around 0.7 volt for any silicon semiconductor. So at this particular threshold voltage or knee voltage, you will see that you have a large diffusion current under forward bias, because this current is due to the majority carriers. On the other hand, if you allow the terminals of the battery in the opposite direction, if you connect it like this, that is, you've connected the P type to the negative and the N type to the positive terminal, then the applied voltage is also in the same direction as the potential barrier, because of which the potential barrier becomes wider, and you only have a very small current across the junction due to minority carrier, and that current is what you call as the drift current. It's an extremely small saturation current. We have drawn this graph also, VI graph, in the third quadrant. We have a very small drift current, and this current is very small because it is due to minority carriers. And at the breakdown voltage, of course, you have a large current. So this saturation, constant saturation current is extremely small and it's called the drift current due to minority carriers. That is what's happening under reverse bias of a semiconductor diode. If you do not remember this, please go back to the previous video, watch that, and then come to then watch this one, because we need this concept to be very clear so that you will understand the working of a semiconductor diode acting as a half wave or full wave rectifier. So basically, whenever your diode is under forward bias, it conducts current, large diffusion current. If it is under reverse bias, there is a small drift current which is negligible when compared to the diffusion current. So we say there is no current. That means the diode does not conduct under reverse bias. Okay. So this is a principle of a rectifier. A diode conducts under forward bias. Under reverse bias, a diode does not conduct current. So if I'm going to draw a graph here of the input voltage, that is the input voltage that is going to come in at A. From the secondary, it has been stepped down, and we have an input voltage that is appearing across the secondary of the transformer from the AC input. So that input voltage is what I'm going to draw here, AC. Okay. So this is the input voltage at A. So that input voltage is going to be given to the 2 points A and B. Now in the positive half cycle, let me draw this here so that we can clearly see the output voltage. Here I am going to draw the output across R, that is across the load resistor. Now here, when this AC input is applied, suppose this is positive, obviously the other end of the secondary winding will be negative. So we have this diode now in forward bias, because a positive is connected to the P type, right? This is the N type. So it is under forward bias, it will conduct current, and therefore current will flow through this resistor, and whenever you have current through the resistor, we have a voltage which is equal to I into RL, and we see that we have an output voltage across RL during the positive half cycle. Now during the negative half cycle, the polarity will switch. So this end now becomes, this end of the secondary winding becomes negative and the other end becomes positive. Now what happens is, this diode is under reverse bias because the negative is connected to the P type, so it is under reverse bias. I told you under reverse bias we have a small negligible drift current, so we say the diode does not conduct. So we do not have a voltage output across RL here, because there is now no current through RL. There is no voltage across RL, so here we don't have a voltage. In the next cycle, this becomes again, here you see this end A is going to become positive. So end A is positive, then end B becomes negative. So when end A becomes positive, you know diode is forward biased, it will conduct current, and then you will have a voltage across. There is a current, and therefore you will have a voltage across this RL, and that's what we've drawn here. In the next cycle, you see end A becomes negative. So when end A becomes negative, you see diode does not conduct because it is under reverse bias and we don't have an output voltage. So what you see in the output across RL It is a unidirectional voltage, only in one direction. The negative half cycles have been cut off. So we now have a DC, because DC is unidirectional, except that we cannot expect it to have a pulsating output like this, because you know DC should be constant. So towards the end of the session, we will be discussing about the filter circuit, which can remove the pulses and give you a constant DC. So we have converted an alternating voltage to a unidirectional voltage, which is what we call as a DC voltage. And the obviously you can see the disadvantage of a half wave rectifier is it has converted it to DC, but the disadvantage is that we have wasted the negative half cycles. That means it has been cut off. So the average output voltage will be very low, because if you take one cycle here, one complete cycle, we only have the positive half cycle. The negative half cycle has been cut off, and therefore the average voltage output will be very low. Also, there will be a power loss, right? Because this negative half cycle is eliminated. So power being VI, whenever there is a loss in voltage, then there is a loss in power. So there is power loss in this. And of course, the ripples or the pulses can be removed using a filter circuit. Now the frequency, if you check the frequency, let's say this is one time period. Okay, in one time period, it has completed one complete wave. So here in one time period, it's the same. We have the wave repeating itself after one time period, right? So you see that the frequency is the same. Whatever is the input frequency will be the frequency output also. For us in India, the input frequency is 50 Hertz. So the input frequency will remain the same for the output also. So this is the working of the half wave rectifier. Now in your full wave rectifier, we are able to rectify the negative half cycles also into the positive cycle, and that is the advantage of using a full wave rectifier. Let's see how we can do that. So in this full wave rectifier, what we have here is a circuit where we have two diodes. We have two diodes. One more diode is connected to the two ends of the secondary of the transformer. We connect another diode in the same way. These secondary windings are connected to the P type. Okay, and then we join the end side together, and from here we take a terminal. Let's call it as X. Connect the load resistor across that. Then what we have in this case is called a center tap transformer. The center tap transformer is a normal transformer that you learned in AC chapter. The only difference is there's a slight modification. We have a wire connected exactly at the center of the secondary winding, such that this voltage, the full voltage across the secondary winding, will be divided into two equal voltages of equal magnitude. Let's say I'm calling this as VA and this as VB. Okay, and this center tap in this case is grounded. This is grounded here, connected to the ground, so that this secondary winding here is divided into exactly two voltages. The total voltage V will be VA plus VB, where you have, let's say during the positive half cycle, end A is positive, end B is negative, right? And this, because is grounded, the center tap, which is just a wire connected to the exact center of the secondary winding, so that the voltage total is divided into two equal halves, such that VA plus VB will give you the total voltage. So because this is grounded, this is going to be a 0 volt. So you will see that these two voltages are of opposite polarity. When this is positive, this end will be negative. So center tap transformer is a normal transformer, except we have a wire connected at the center, which will divide the total voltages into two equal halves of equal magnitude but opposite polarity. Now let's look at the working of this. The input is the same. We are going to rectify this input AC, which we are supplying to the primary of the transformer. It has stepped down that voltage, and this is the secondary of the transformer, and you see the connection is such that you have grounded the center tap, and we take the voltage, or we put the RL across this X and Y. So this is the diagram given to you in your textbook, and that's why I've drawn this here. But I think to explain it better to you, we can make a slight change to this circuit diagram. You may use either one, this or the one that I'm going to draw now. See, this point is x, right? So I leave this point as x here. Okay, so this RL is connected across x and y being the center tap end. So I can, instead of drawing like this, I can directly draw across this, right? Here I can put the RL here. So since this end is x, this will be x and this will be the y. And this is the load resistance RL. Here we have grounded it. So this is also a simpler circuit. You can use this or the other one that we have drawn. Remember, your RL appears across x and y. X is between the two N type. We have connected the N side together. You take the X terminal from here. And the center tap, which is grounded, will be the other end, Y. And the RL is between the 2 points, X and Y. Okay. Now this is easier for me to explain. That is why. Okay, so now this is our diode D1 and this is our diode D2. Now in the positive half cycle, I hope you can see that. Wait. Okay, so here we have our graph where I'm going to draw the input at A here. This is input at A. Same manner, if I'm going to draw the input at B, then you know whenever A is positive, the other end B of the secondary winding of the transformer will be negative. When A is positive, B is negative, and then it will, next half cycle it will switch the polarity. When end A becomes positive, end B becomes negative. So if I'm going to draw the input at B, then whenever A is positive, B is negative, and exact opposite way we have. Okay. Here I am going to draw the output across RL, and that's what we are going to represent here. Now, if you look at this, when your input supply is given, this end A becomes positive and end B becomes negative. Now what that means is diode D1 is forward biased, right? Because positive is connected to P type, but diode D2 is reverse biased because negative is connected to positive. So diode D2 does not conduct, but D1 will conduct. So what happens is your current will move in this direction, come here and then move across X and Y to the ground. This is the circuit. This is a current flow direction. So you will see across RL current is flowing from X to Y, and because there is a current, there will be a voltage across RL, V equal to I into R. So we have a voltage across RL here. Now the next half cycle, what happens is you have this A becoming negative but B becoming positive. So now you see D1 is connected, the P tap is connected to the negative terminal. So that is reverse biased, but D2 becomes forward biased because we have the positive connected to the P tap. So now D1 will not conduct, but D2 will conduct. So now what happens is the current flow will be in this direction here, and then across RL you will see the current is in the same direction, right? It is from X to Y itself. So the voltage drop will be in the same direction. You have a voltage across RL because there is a current in the same direction across RL. So now you will have understood that whenever A is positive, you have D1 conducting. Whenever B is positive, you have D2 conducting. Whether D1 conducts or D2 conducts, current in the load resistance X is always from X to Y, that is in the same direction. So you will always have an output voltage in the same direction, and you just now see that the advantage of this full wave rectifier over the half wave rectifier is that we are able to rectify the negative half cycles also, which means that your power, if you take the average of the power output, will definitely be higher. Actually, it is 2 times that of the half wave rectifier. Also, you will see that the frequency, now listen, this is one complete wave, right? So let me take this as one time period. So when it comes to the output, you will see that this is one time period, this is t by 2. So you will notice that this wave is repeating itself after a time interval of t by 2. So in the output, the time period is t by 2. So new time period here is t by 2, or 1 by t dash is 2 by t, or frequency f dash is equal to 2 times the original frequency. So please understand that when you come to a full wave rectifier, the frequency is doubled. In a half wave rectifier, it remains the same as the input supply. Okay, so this is the working of a half wave rectifier. Now we have one problem here. I told you that is the problem is that we have ripples, or we have a pulsating output, which is not good for all practical purposes or practical applications. We need a DC that is a pure DC, not a pulsating DC. That is a constant DC. It can't keep increasing its value and decreasing its value, because pulsating DCs are not useful for us in practical applications. So what we do here is we connect a capacitor. Let me go back to my original diagram, because so we have the center tap, we have our terminal X here, Y here, and we had connected our load resistor across this. Now our output across this is a pulsating DC, right? We have got a DC, but it is a pulsating DC, and we have what we call as a filter circuit, which can remove the pulses to a great extent and give us a constant DC value, DC voltage. A filter circuit is nothing but a capacitor which is connected in parallel to the load resistor. When I taught you AC current, alternating current, we know that a capacitor blocks DC. It does not allow DC to pass through because it offers infinite resistance. So now what happens here is, when you have this DC output current, that is flowing through this, we have a DC output current here, which is going to flow through R. As this voltage increases in RL, as the voltage increases, of course current also increases, you will see that this capacitor now gets charged because of the DC, because it's a DC current. You know, DC currents are blocked by a capacitor. It only charges the capacitor. So while this is increasing, the current is increasing in RL, we have the capacitor being charged up to the peak value of this output voltage. Whatever is the peak value of output voltage will be the value of voltage across the plates of the capacitor. Now as soon as this starts to fall, when the voltage across this or the current across this starts to decrease, the capacitor will discharge, providing current through R. So that means RL does not face a fall in current or fall in voltage, because your capacitor is now discharging through R. So that this will now remain a constant, because it does not face that fall. You have the capacitor now discharging through RL, providing a voltage across RL. So this decrease in RL, voltage across RL, is not seen. By the time it starts discharging, the next increase has already happened in RL, and during that increase the capacitor will now recharge itself, because while it discharges it loses its charge, right? So while there is already current through RL and the voltage across RL is increasing, during that time the capacitor will now recharge itself, and while it decreases the capacitor will discharge, giving current through RL. So basically the voltage across RL does not decrease, simply because while it is decreasing the capacitor discharges, providing current through RL, so that there will be a voltage across RL. While there is increase in the voltage across RL, the capacitor takes that time to recharge itself to the peak value of that voltage. So this is how you can remove the pulses of or the pulsating DC and give you a pure DC, But the only thing is, it can't be completely removed. There will be slight pulsating DC output voltage. To some efficiency, we can remove the pulses. So this is our topic for today, half wave rectifier and full wave rectifier. And in our next topic, in our next session, we'll complete this chapter with optoelectronic devices. Thank you.